Hey guys, Ken here. Um, I don't know if you remember, but I talked that because this semester is 1 week shy of the required 16 weeks, that all classes have to have about 5 hours of extra instruction. So what decided to do, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the semester, is to do some video tutorials on Dreamweaver. Because Dreamweaver is software based, it's a little bit more complicated, and some people are going to learn quicker than other people. And I thought that this would be the best way to satisfy that. So why Dreamweaver? Why do we need Dreamweaver? Well, the reality is that we don't. You could build a page any way that you want. What Dreamweaver helps with is it is an application that allows you to design on one screen, and all the code needed to display it properly in a browser is created by Dreamweaver on another screen. And what this type of application is, it's called a WYSIWYG, which simply means what you see is what you get. And there are a lot of different types of WYSIWYG software. Dreamweaver is probably the best known because building websites with code is kind of difficult. So when it comes to streamlining that to making it a little bit easier, we use a WYSIWYG Dreamweaver. Now there are other types. There are simplified software that are easier to use than Dreamweaver. One of those is Adobe Muse. A Muse is very simplified. It takes actually a lot of the design aspects out of what you can do. It's in some ways like working in WordPress. Everything is predefined. You just choose certain aspects of, like if you want a button, you go up and you insert a button, but you only have a choice of, say, 5 different kinds of buttons. Now that is helpful for somebody doing one, maybe two sites. But as a web designer, you need more control. And so Dreamweaver kind of fills that gap. It's a little bit heavier duty, meaning that you can do more to design websites than you can in a lot of the other software that's available. Dreamweaver has its problems. In class, we ran into some issues about previewing. It doesn't update properly. In fact, I think I mentioned in class that I typically don't use Dreamweaver. I started with Dreamweaver and eventually got to the point where Dreamweaver was slowing me down because I had learned to program, and it was just easier to do what I wanted to based on my own programming skills. Having said that, though, to start off, Dreamweaver is a great application to use. So what are these videos going to go over? Now this is preliminary. I'm doing this video before I've done all the other ones, but this is the expectation. The very first thing, we're going to have a video how to define a site. We're going to go over all the options that you have, why it's important to define a site, and all the different things that you need to know. I'll have a video about creating a basic HTML page, and I'll include some CSS formatting. It'll be simple. Most of you have already done this before, but I want to go through and make sure that there's any questions that hopefully I'll answer them in this video. I'll also talk about, in the next video, using tables. Now tables for the longest time were the only way that you could make a web page that worked properly on everybody's browser. And I use that loosely because a lot of times, even using tables, you didn't get the same look from one browser to another. I'll have a video about creating forms and how to input very basic elements. The next video will be inserting images and videos. And this can be kind of fun. It's fairly simple, depending on how you use or what level of complexity you want to use, but inserting images is pretty basic. HTML5 video can be pretty simple as well. I'll have one video about just using CSS to create your layouts. It'll be very much like the second, but we'll use a style sheet and we'll connect the style sheet and actually go into bringing in web fonts and other aspects that you might find useful. And the next video, I'm not sure about this one, but I'm thinking that at this point, I'm still thinking that it could be useful. Everybody knows what a template is. Basically, it is a predefined layout that streamlines the design process. In other words, when you create a template, then all you have to do is open a template and plug in information. I've never found it useful for web design. I think I mentioned in class what I would do is I would save the page as the next page that I wanted to work with. And for example, let's say I defined or I created an index page and I wanted to use the same layout in About Me page. I would just save that index page as About Me and then change the information over. I don't think it's that important that you understand how to create a template, but at this point I'm thinking I might as well go over it. It'll probably be a short video. And then we get a little bit more complicated. It's not complicated in some aspects, but once you're able to implement responsive design, it opens up a whole nother avenue. In other words, responsive design deals with the size of the browser window that is opening the page. For example, you could have two visitors, one on a phone and one on a desktop. And they're both different sizes. And you need to, as a designer, define your site to work with both of those different windows. I mentioned in class that I'm not going to go into depth with this, but we are going to talk about it and how you would technically do it. You'll get the information, but I'm not going to have you design 3 websites based on the browser window that's being opened. And then finally, the last video that I'm thinking of doing is how to publish your website. And we do that with a file transfer protocol to a server. I didn't make it a requirement that you guys have a server, but I might allow you access so that you could publish your final website on my server. We'll see how that goes. All right, so that's what these videos are going to cover. I hope that it's enough, and I hope you realize that there's going to be some changing of this. Right now, I think that this is correct, but there's always the possibility that I'm going to add something in. If, for example, I'm doing a video about using tables and I realize that I need to do another video about something else, then the video, I'll have either another video or use tables will be use tables and create X or Y, right? So right now, I think that this is it. This will be the first video, and I want to get this up. I also want to apologize for the background noise. I'm doing this in my office, and there's a fan that goes 24/7, and I don't have access to the right equipment. Like, for example, I probably would have talked during this, or I would have recorded this on a video camera along with the screen, and I would have also had my external microphone, which is better quality than what's on my laptop. I hope you understand that. The next videos will be a little bit more polished. If you have any questions of anything, any of these videos, there's several ways that you can ask. The first is you can leave a comment. I prefer it this way, that reason that somebody else will see the question. They may not even know that they want to ask that, but then they get the opportunity to see the answer. Another way is to email me, and the third is wait till class and hopefully I can answer your question in class. Again, probably the best way is to just leave a comment. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to try to get this published and up online before class this morning. Thank you very much. Have a good day.